Good evening and welcome. I am Shai Jerome Party and these are tonight's headlines.
Vote on account for the first 4 months of 2020 passed in Parliament. Carbon tax and tax on telecommunication towers removed. State service provided with more tax waivers. Change in luxury tax for vehicles. Tilanga Supatipala named as a member of COPE. JVP opposes appointment. Parliament Special Committee report on April 21st attacks presented to Parliament. Hakeem responds to claims regarding his alleged relationship with Mohammad Zahran. Sajid Premadasa guarantees to hand down death penalty to drug smugglers following an equitable hearing. Do not be deceived by fake claims. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's request to the people.
Well, take a look at those stories in detail now. A vote on account for the first 4 months of the year 2020 was presented in Parliament today by Minister of Finance Mangala Samravira. As per the vote on account, state expenditure for the first 4 months of 2020 is estimated to be 1,470 billion rupees. Estimated state revenue is estimated to be 745 billion rupees. The vote on account seeks parliamentary approval to obtain loans amounting to 721 billion rupees.
Finance Minister announced several concessions during the vote on account presented in Parliament today.
The definition of specified motor vehicles for the applicability of luxury tax on motor vehicles will be amended to provide for chargeability of the tax base on the price of vehicles instead of engine capacity and specifying the exempt vehicle categories. 2. Levy on foreign commercial transaction. Levy on foreign commercial transaction will be charged at the rate of 3.5% on the credit debit card payments made to purchase goods and services from outside Sri Lanka. The date of implementation of the levy will be declared by the Minister by an order published in the Gazette. The carbon tax, which has been imposed under the Finance Act number 35 of 2018, will be abolished effective from 1st of December 2018. In order to facilitate 5G all across the country, many more towers are needed, and therefore, in order to assist the industry, we are removing this tax completely. Presently, there is no provision in the excise ordinance for the police officers to initiate proceedings before a magistrate against the offender on matters pertaining to illicit liquor. Therefore, it has resulted in a rapid increase in the trade and consumption of illicit liquor in most parts of the country. Accordingly, Section 35 and 52 of the excise ordinance will be amended to authorize police officers to take legal actions on matters pertaining to illicit liquor. The piece-based VAT rate applicable on domestic sale of certain garments by the export-oriented BOI companies will be increased from 75 to rupees 100. Considering the request of the taxpayers, the VAT payment date will be changed to 20th day of the month following the month relevant to such payment. VAT on the supply of unit price of each condominium housing unit project does not exceed 25 million. All those below 25 million will be exempted from VAT. Exemption applicable on the importation of unprocessed gemstones will be granted on the approval of the National Gem and Jewellery Authority if the payment of such services is in foreign currency and remitted to Sri Lanka. Exemption applicable on the services provided by the construction subcontractors will be extended to the main contractors as well. Exemption of hotel services providing for foreign currency, removal of exemption of cigarettes, exemption of projects with an investment of US or the construction period.
Last year, the constitutional crisis erupted just a few days before the budget was to be presented in Parliament. He took over the position of Prime Minister forcefully and even sat on my chair as the Finance Minister for 52 days. The complete budget for this year was only presented in April. The manner in which our MPs acted inside Parliament, how they splashed water on the Speaker's chair, how they broke microphones, will forever remain a black mark in the history of this Parliament. Those who did all of that now pledged to create a well-disciplined society. They injected 1,000 billion rupees during the 52-day political turmoil to defend the depreciation of the rupee. The GDP growth also declined to 1.8% during the last quarter. When the rupee depreciated during the political conspiracy, Bandula Gunawardana asked us, how do you defend the rupee depreciation? We faced the unfortunate attacks in April. The entire economy suffered by this. However, during a short period, we were able to resolve all terrorist activities. That's not all. We shouldered a huge debt stock. Next year, we have to pay approximately 1 trillion rupees as foreign debt repayment. Who obtained these loans? The then Minister of Finance speaks so much about debt. He reads out false statistics prepared by various factions. In 2010, Mahinda Rajapaksa obtained 1,000 million US dollars at a high interest rate of 7.4%. Our government has to repay this in 2020. 72% of the total external debt we repay were obtained by the previous government.
පසුගිය රජයේ ණය බව අපි කියනවා.
The report of the Parliament Special Committee appointed to look into the April 21st attacks was presented in Parliament today.
The report of the Parliament Special Committee, which was appointed under the chairmanship of Deputy Speaker Ananda Kumarasiri, was presented in Parliament by Member of Parliament Dr. Jayampathy Vikramaratne.
ආරක සභාවේ සමාජිකයෙක් වූ ගරු රවුෆ් හකීම් ඇමතිතුමා තමා
Minister Rauf Hakeem, who is a member of the Parliamentary Committee, accepted last week that he had met with Zahran and other parties who were behind this attack. How can the Parliament and the entire country accept a report presented by a group comprising such individuals? I would like to know on what basis this report is being presented in Parliament at a time where Rauf Hakeem accepts in public that he met with these people.
කියන කාරණාව අපි දැනගන්නට කැමති. 2010
When the Speaker presented these names in Parliament on the 23rd of May 2019, no one objected. There was no debate regarding the names on the list. No one disagreed.
මෙතුමා මතු කරපු මේ ප්‍රශ්නය පිළිබඳව අහම්බෙන් කොහරි අහුලගත්ත
Regarding the question raised by him, I am deeply saddened by the fact that they are creating a false connection between me and those terrorists simply by using several photographs and videos. I will show better pictures than that of those which they have. First of all, consider what caliber of people you have appointed yourselves. After that, point the finger at me. This is quite unfair. I am disappointed because the same members of the opposition who asked us why we resigned from our positions, although we did not have any allegations against us, are now saying these things to gain cheap political mileage.
ගාටු වෙනවා පාටු දේශපාලන උවමනාවන් තකා මෙවැනි චෝදනා මට එල්ල කිරීම පිළිබඳව.
අඩුම තරමේ මේ
In the very least, call for a debate on this report before the election. Otherwise, there is no point in this being printed.
මේ කිරීමේ තේරුමක් නැහැ. අර නියෝජන
Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are ready to call for a debate. We are ready.
විවාදයක් දෙන්න සූදානම්.
Meanwhile, Minister Rauf Hakeem convened a media briefing in the parliamentary complex to respond to the allegations raised against him.
මේ 2015 වෙච්ච සිද්ධියක්.
This happened in 2015. No one knew who Zahran was, what he did, and about his extremist ideas. I didn't know any of that. When there is a meeting at a mosque, there are a lot of people. Did I know that there was a group like this among these people? This might have happened to any politician. Here is a list of associates of those who accuse me. A Maulavi named Ibrahim Miflal. He is the first person who lodged a complaint against me. Here's a photograph of this Maulavi seated with the current opposition leader. This photograph was taken recently. Following the general election in 2015, there were post-election incidences. I went to inspect those violent acts with a group of police officers. One of your supporters, a pregnant mother, was among the injured. When we visited her, Zahran's brother was on the bed next to her. You can see the person here. He is MSM Ziad. He is a Batiklo Muslim division organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna. Here's his leaflet. He is the one who is taking Gotabaya Rajapaksa to Kartankudi. He is in all the pictures. In 2015, nobody knew they were terrorists. He has also taken a picture with the former speaker. As political leaders, when we visit areas, we meet various people.
ප්‍රදේශයකට ගියාම නොයෙකුත් අය අපි වෙලා හමු වෙනවා.
The Parliamentary Special Committee report on the April 21st attacks was presented to Parliament today.
In its 272-page report, the PSC has named the President, the Prime Minister and the State Minister of Defence, along with others, as those who have failed in taking necessary action to prevent the April 21st attacks.
Responsibility, are there any individuals named?
Yes, there are individuals named. Apart from the officials who are responsible for this aspect of intelligence and intelligence gathering and also the security of the country, the responsible ministers, Prime Minister and also the State Minister of Defence also has been held responsible.
And the President as Minister of Defence and one who held the law and order portfolio under him. With regard to the Eastern Province political patronage, we have named former Governor of the Eastern Province, Mr. Hizbullah. We have named a few others who have made irresponsible statements from time to time.
Who is the most culpable official in all the five? One single person.
It's difficult to say that, but from what the chairman said, the director SIS, the IGP, the defense secretary, CNI have all been named. From available evidence, we have placed blame on various sectors and those officials.
The committee has made recommendations with regard to 8 factors that require urgent attention. Number 1, essential reforms in the security and intelligence sector. Number 2, establishment of an enhanced financial supervisory mechanism. Number 3, the need to control and monitor the rise of religious extremism. Number 4, addressing delays with justice, reforming the Attorney General's department. Number 5, Wahhabism and the need for action. Number 6, media reporting, fake news and other areas of concern. Number 7, holding politicians, people's representatives accountable. Number 8, reforming the educational sector to counter growing extremism.
IGP Pujit Jayasundara sent on compulsory leave and former Defence Secretary Hemasuri Fernando were further remanded until the 6th of November by Colombo Additional Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage.
Jayasundara and Fernando are both in remand custody over the April 21st attacks and were granted bail earlier by the Colombo Chief Magistrate on the 9th of June. However, on the 9th of October, the Colombo Chief High Court Judge Vikram Kaluarachi set aside the bail order made by the Colombo Chief Magistrate. The High Court determined the magistrate's bail order contained serious legal errors and was in violation of the law, and thereby ordered the Colombo Chief Magistrate to take measures to remand the suspects. Deputy Solicitor General Dilpa Piris presented facts on behalf of the Attorney General. The opinion of the Attorney General and the Chief Magistrate on the same matter were different in nature, and thereby the Attorney General's department would consider taking up the case in another court.
The presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Minister Sajid Premadasa, has challenged the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, for a live broadcast debate on national television.
Sajid Premadasa has made the statement via a tweet published on his official Twitter account. He adds that policies and visions can be shared publicly with voters via such a public debate. Minister Premadasa further adds that a strong candidate does not need to fear engaging their opponent in an unscripted exchange.
An event organized by the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau was held in Colombo this morning. Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, spoke to those involved in the tourism sector.
The assurance that within 48 hours of coming into office, with the establishment of the Presidential Task Force, this would be one of the major priority initiatives that we will implement. And the establishment of the Presidential Task Force means once the directions are given by the head of state, on a weekly basis, there will be gatherings at the Presidential Secretariat. We will have targets. We will have the objectives listed out, and we will have a time targeted plan to achieve those goals. So it's not going to be a talking shop. I will not be palming off my responsibilities to mushrooming committees, which inevitably results in policy bankruptcy and policy gridlock. I have had the opportunity of seeing the workings of US government. I have interned in the US Senate for 2.5 years. I've seen how things take place in the British House of Commons, and I've practically experienced when tourists arrive in our motherland, transportation should be up to international standard, and we will look in very seriously into concessions to be granted both in terms of upgrading the fleet.
The presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, addressed a number of rallies in the Kandy district earlier today.
This was the welcome the presidential candidate received at the rally in Talatwoya, organized by MP SP Disanayaka. Development went back 4 years. They are taking the lands to those from overseas. They are about to hand over Mattala. If all of this was developed as Sri Lankan entities, your children would be the ones who benefit. A president must not be one who cuts back on sleep or one who sneaks into houses in the nights. He must protect and steer the country. There is also a number of murders. The underworld has raised its head since the day this government took office. This has to stop. We cannot let anyone destroy our people. I would like to remind you that we have a responsibility to protect this country from this drug and underworld menace.
අපි එදා ත්‍රස්තවාදී අවසාන කරාටත් වඩා අපේ ජයග්‍රහණය තියෙන්නේ පශ්චාත් යුද සමයේ අපි කරපු ජයග්‍රහණය.
I think more than completing the war, our victories lie in the post-war era. The victories we obtained, the development, we developed the whole of the north and the east, areas which were ravaged by the war.
සංවර්ධනය කරා. ජනතාවට ආරක්ෂාව ලබා දෙන්නට අපිට හැකියාවක් තිබුණා.
We were able to provide security to the people. But this government, caving into foreign forces and NGOs, broke the mentality of our forces.
මානසිකත්වය කඩා දැම්ම. එදා ආරම්භ කරපු ව්‍යාපෘති මේ රජය ආපු ගමන්ම නවතලා දැම්මා.
Projects we began back then were brought to a halt. We were to finish the upcountry highway by 2018, but they have not even begun it. But with the current situation, we have about 4 years of work left. How important is an international airport to a country? It has such potential for development. This is a group that didn't have brains, so resorted to storing paddy at the airports. To belittle Mahinda Rajapaksa, they belittle the whole country.
වීගබඩා කරන්න තරම් මොලේ නැති කොට්ටාසයක් නෙමෙයි. හුදෙක් මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාව සමච්චල්ලයට පත් කරන්න මුළු ලංකාවම සමච්චල්ලයට පත් කළා.
මිතුලසින් ඉස්කම්මව එළේ අභිමානේ
Gotabaya Rajapaksa then proceeded to another rally in the town of Gampala.
ආණ්ඩුව ආවිල්ලා බුලත් කොලේටත් බඩු ගහලා මේක හැම තැනම වැට් ඉවරයක් නැහැ.
This government came in and even taxed the betel leaf. Everywhere you look, it's VAT and VAT. There is no end to tax. They are ripping off the people. Our system is to take taxes similar to how a bee takes honey from a flower. You cannot destroy the people and then impose taxes on them. Now to estate workers. We said we will give 1,000 rupees. That is certain. We will give them the 1,000 rupees. But some are promising figures they cannot deliver. They are making promises by the bunch. They are saying one lie to the army, another to the police, another to the labourer. They are trying to go on this journey by lying to the average citizen. There is not much longer left for the Yahapalane government. Just 24 days. Yahapalane will then be over.
Yahapalane ivarai.
අපි ඒ කොළඹ නගරේ ජනතාවට ජීවත් වෙන්න සුදුසු නගරයක් බවට පත් කළා. ඒ නගරේ තියෙන පැල්පත් ඉවත් කරන්නට අපි ක්‍රියා කළා.
We made Colombo a city where people can live. We worked to get rid of shacks and housing of that nature. We built apartments and upgraded the lives of about 3 million people. We began some projects. We didn't even have to spend state funds. Foreign companies came in and invested in them.
විදේශීය රටක සමාගමක් ආයෝජනයක් කළා. කොම්පඤ්ඤ වීදියේ එතන තිබුණු පැල්පත්වල හිටිය සෑම දෙනාටම විශාල තට්ටු නිවාස යෝජනා ක්‍රමයක් සමග ඒ අයගේ ආයෝජනය ගේන්න.
They brought in a proposal for a project to improve the lives of all those living in slums in Colombo. They went to court with false allegations and tried to delay the project. But we began the project. This government came in and then distributed the apartments, pasting their pictures on the walls. We always worked considerately. Now you are aware of the lies. The Muslim community at one point was almost completely against Mahinda Rajapaksa. But what has happened today? All the businesses have fallen apart. Do not buy into these lies.
මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට විරුද්ධව ඡන්දය දුන්නා. නමුත් අද මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? සියලුම ව්‍යාපාර කඩා වැටිලා. මේ බොරු ප්‍රචාරවලට නැවතත් රැවටෙන්නට එපා.
Actress Anushka Damayanti is one of the main speakers on the election stage of SLPP presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa. These are the views expressed by her at a rally held in Kaduwela yesterday.
හැමදාමත් මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමන්ට යෝධ බල යෝධ ශක්තියක් දුන්නු නූතන දුටු ගැමුණුන්ට මහා ශක්තියක් දුන්නු විමල් වීරවංශ
Vimal Veerwansha, the silver bell of Asia, who provided a massive strength to President Mahinda Rajapaksa and to the modern Dutugamunu. I feel like looking at the masses that gathered in Mulleriyawa to chase away the Portuguese, to chase away all the foreign forces, to provide strength to Gotabaya in 2020.
Gotabaya Shaktiya dena Tikiri Kumari Tikiri කුමාරලා බිහි කරපු ඒ වීරත්වය ඔබ තුලින් දැනෙනවා සිංහ දදය සෙවනේ සිංහ දදය දෙවනේ සෙවනේ සිංහ දදයට පණ දෙන්නට රටට පණ දෙන්නට ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුන් නියත ජනාධිපති වශයෙන් නැවතත් මේ පොළොව මත රන් අකුරින් ලියන
I feel that strength from all of you that created the Prince Tikiri. Rally around under the Sri Lankan flag to provide strength to the motherland and to etch in gold the name of Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the president of this country. The leader who provided you with life after ending the 30-year war and allowed your children to breathe, Mahinda Rajapaksa, will be appointed as the Prime Minister. How lucky are you? Let all of you be victorious.
State Minister Wasantha Senanayake was much talked about in recent times as he changed his political allegiance multiple times. This presidential election, he has pledged his support to presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa. But convening a press briefing today, he made the following remarks.
Sajid Premadasa is not the issue in this campaign. We have put forward a good candidate. I am happy about that. But those who wanted to see destruction are now running his campaign. Who his prime ministerial candidate will also be a question. Even people in our electorate ask us who will be the prime ministerial candidate, questioning how they can support this campaign. This is because the new cabinet can be chosen by the prime minister. He said he will work against corruption. Because I know Minister Premadasa, I know he will try to eradicate it. If someone who has become popular as the biggest thief in history is running around with him, and if he is given nominations, if he is at the forefront of the campaign, will he be given a cabinet portfolio? We need to know all this information. If I do not receive a positive piece of information, I have decided to retire from politics. I will give you another example. I told him to contest from the elephant symbol. I was at the meeting when a few from the Central Committee said that we should contest under the swan. Then he accepted it. Then I asked a few others from other parties why they were opposed to the elephant. They said they have no issue. So I am concerned as whether he has fallen into some sort of trap. If we look at who leads the Swan party and who it belongs to, we can infer some things.
These were the views expressed on the political stages of the main two presidential candidates.
They say Sajid Premadasa visits at night and generously gives away anything, even his limbs like the Sri Sangabo. He would even give away his head. However, even if he donated his hands or legs, we will never vote for him. The group led by Ronald Vikram Singh is what's pulling him back.
ඒක නිසා මට හිතෙනවා එතුමා තමන්ගේ ආර්යාව සමග කොහොම යයිද කියලා හිතා ගන්න බෑ. මං පොරක් කියන් හිටියට නෑනේ කිසි දෙයක්. ඇරියොතින් අනේ කටවත් කන්න ඕන නං. දැන් ඉතින් රනිල් හිටියත් නෑ වගේ වගක්. මං පෙරදුනොත් ඉතින් මම් පෙරදුනියුත් ඉතින් අම්ම පරුන්ද ගති ගතං. කොහොමද සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසව තෝරගත්තේ අපේක්ෂකත්වයට?
How was Sajid Premadasa fielded as a candidate for the upcoming presidential candidate? Did a council select him? Did Ronald Vikram Singh appoint him? Or did God choose him? No. He worked hard across the island. He constructed houses. He constructed temples. He provided 500,000 rupees to each temple. He gave 25 million rupees each to the officers of the Mahanayaka. He renovated the temples. He helped every industry. He is prohibited from constructing houses in the housing ministry camp in the north and east and in the city. While the rest was taken over by other ministries, he initiated development in villages and opened model villages every day. He worked hard for the general public. This is how he qualified to be a presidential candidate.
ජනාධිපතිකමට සුදුසුකම හදාගත්තේ මහජනයට වැඩ කළා දිගින් දිගටම.
Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, addressed rallies in the Puttlam district.
This was how the presidential candidate was welcomed to the rally.
කිසිම ජාතියක් කිසිම ආගමක් ජන සමාජයෙන් වෙන් කරන්නේ නැතුව කොන් කරන්නේ නැතුව බුද්ධ ආගමට මුල් තැන ලබා දෙමින්
We will create an era where all religions and communities will be included in the society while safeguarding Buddhism. Just because a small number of people are labelled as terrorists, we are not ready to destroy the entire community. We are not ready to destroy an entire religion. We will strengthen national security, and there are no two words about that. We will also eradicate terrorism. I assure you that we will bring all those who try to burn the country down before the law with our heads held high.
හැමදෙනාම අපි නීතිය හමුවට කොන්ද කෙලින් තියාගෙන ගෙන එනවාමයි කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමතියි.
The presidential candidate met with businessmen of the gem industry in Colombo yesterday.
වසර 45ක් බදු නොගෙවපු ශේෂ්ත්‍රයකට බදු පනවලා තිබෙනවා.
Taxes have been imposed on an industry that didn't pay taxes for 45 years. We will very soon look into it and provide them a tax relief. I will not delay that as I am used to making rigid decisions. I don't govern by appointing committees. I don't follow the procedure of appointing committees and procrastinating, but we will have to analyze thoroughly before making any decision. We will make decisions like a ride along the expressway. We will make decisions on behalf of the country like Malaysia's Mahathir Mohamad and Singapore's Lee Kuan Yew.
මැලේසියාවේ මහතියර් මොහමඩ් සිංගප්පූරුවේ ලී කුවන් යූට හා සමානව රට වෙනුවෙන් තීන්දුව తీරන ගැනීම ඉක්මන් තීන්දුව తీරන ගැනීම අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා කියන එක ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නට ඕන. ඔය ඉතින් මට නම් ඉතින් 16 වගේ තමයි අද දවසේ තේරෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඇත්තටම
Actually, I want to take over this responsibility as soon as possible because there are a lot of simple things to do to build this country. I'm saddened by how we have gotten ourselves into a muddy pit for decades instead of solving these issues.
අපි නිකන් රටක් හැටියට එකම මඩවලක මඩ වගුරක එරිලා කටයුතු කරපු ආකාරය පිළිබඳව ඇත්තටම අපි හැමෝම කනගාටු වෙන්න.
Another rally in Katana, Gampaha, was also attended by Sajid Premadasa.
අප්‍රේල් 21 වෙනිදා ඒ කුරිරු ම්ලේච්ඡ ත්‍රස්තවාදී ක්‍රියාව නිසා
There's the Christian community that was affected by the April 21st terror attacks. I have appointed Sarat Fonseca to ensure that these incidents will not repeat. I will destroy all terrorists before something like this takes place. I will not bring them before the law. We will destroy them. That's the only answer to terrorism. Don't forget that I was battered by terrorism too. I lost my father. As someone who was battered by terrorism, I will not put any family in that position again. I will definitely send the drug lords to where they belong. My opponent, who promised to bring in a new vision to eradicate the drug menace, is on stage with the biggest drug lord in Negombo. Isn't there a drug lord in Negombo? Is there one or not?
මහ කුඩ්ඩෙක් නැද්ද මීගමුවේ? ඉන්නවද නැද්ද? කවුද හෙලිකොප්ටරෙන් ඇවිල්ලා බදාගෙන සිප වැළඳගෙන අනේ මගේ කුඩ්ඩෝ මම ඔබ බේරා ගන්නවයි කියලා කිව්වේ? කුඩ්ඩු රකින්න එකද ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව?
Is national security protecting drug lords? Even our former president is hesitant to make decisions. Someone has asked if it is good or bad to sentence drug businessmen to death. He has said that he doesn't like it very much. Capital punishment should be given via a transparent judicial system to terrorists and drug lords.
කුඩු ජාවාරම් කරන මිනිස්සු මරණ හැමෝටම සාධාරණ විනිවිද භාවයෙන් යුක්ත වූ අධිකරණ ක්‍රමයක් තුල අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මරණීය දණ්ඩනය ලබා දෙන්නට ඕන.
A group of Tamil National Alliance parliamentarians held a special meeting in the parliamentary complex earlier today.
Our reporters in Parliament stated that the meeting began at around 2 p.m. and continued till around 4:30 p.m. The leader of the Tamil National Alliance, R. Sampandan, MP M.A. Sumandiran, D. Siddharthan, S. Sivamohan and S. Yogeshwaran were in attendance. When Newsfirst inquired into the nature of the meeting, TNA leader R. Sampandan stated that the discussion revolved around who they would support at the upcoming presidential election. He further revealed to Newsfirst that their final decision will be conveyed next week.
Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa expressed these views during a meeting in Batiklo today.
The Tamil parties in the north have presented 13 conditions to extend their support to the UNP's presidential candidate. But even before agreeing to all the conditions, the TNA has already started working for him. Why? It is because of the deal the TNA politicians have with the UNP.
The U.S. District Court for the Central District of California granted former Defense Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa's motion to dismiss Ahimsa Vikramatunga's lawsuit against him for the assassination of her father, Lasantha Vikramatunga. These were the views expressed in this regard.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa presented a legal point called immunity. What does it mean? Although the murder was committed based on the requirement of the Sri Lankan government, Gotabaya was only the secretary in charge of defense, which means, except for a Sri Lankan court, this cannot be heard in an American court. The American District Court agreed to this. If someone needs to understand the gravity of the issue, one must study international law. There are 4 sources in the international law. One is traditional law. Second is the law based on international acts and conventions. Third is case law. The decision reached by the Central District of California in this regard becomes a law source against Sri Lanka for the first time. When you read the verdict, you understand the gravity of the issue. This is what the Rajapaksas do. When they are burdened with the responsibility, they put it on someone else and step aside. The responsibility is now on the government. This is a massive betrayal. We question if a patriot can do something like this.
Move on with more local news.
The name of parliamentarian Tilanga Sumathipala has been proposed to the Committee on Public Enterprise to take the place of the recently deceased Chandrasiri Gajadhira.
As per Standing Order 127.3 in Parliament, the Select Committee has, on the 21st of October 2019, put forward the name of Tilanga Sumathipala to take the place of deceased Chandrasiri Gajadhira. There is currently an investigation against MP Sumathipala at the COP. As the Speaker, you have the authority to block his appointment as there is an investigation concerning the Cricket Board. His appointment is unethical. It is an insult to Parliament. I kindly request that his appointment be suspended until the investigations are complete. My membership of the COP has now been announced. There is no obstacle to its membership. I am disappointed in the statement made by the JVP MP. I would like to reiterate that I have all the necessary legal qualifications to hold membership in the COP.
පැහැදිලිවම සුදුසුකම්පුත් තියෙනවා මට. ඒ වගේම මේක නීත්‍යානුකූල පත්වීමක් කියලා මා කියා සිටිනවා. වාර්තාවේ ආයතන 23ක් සම්බන්ධයෙන්
This report highlights many important facts relating to 23 institutions. At present, the general public have a high regard for the parliament and its committees. But there is one question the people constantly ask. What is the next step? Once all of these misdoings are revealed, I would like to request you, provide working committee with certain legal powers and allow representatives from the AG's department and Supreme Court to attend hearings. When they attend those meetings, they become eyewitnesses to those statements instead of going behind institutions such as the Bribery Commission or FCID for evidence.
ඒක හරි වෙන කාලය අරගෙන වටේ යන්නේ නැතුව ඊට පස්සේ උන්ට අධිකරණ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න ඇහින් දුටු සාක්ෂි බවට ඒවා පත් වෙනවා.
ඔබතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කරපු යෝජනා බොහොම වැදගත් කළා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. අපි ගරු කතානායකතුමා දැනුවත් කරලා ඒ පිළිබඳව අවශ්‍ය පියවර ඉස්සරහට ගන්න.
දැන් අවුරුද්දකට වැඩි ක්‍රිකට් බෝඩ් එකේ ඔඩිට් රිපෝට් එක. ඒක මම හිතන්නේ එතුමාටත් ලැබිලා නැහැ. මම හිතනවා ඉක්මනට ඒක ලබා ගන්න කියලා. දැන් ඒක කල් යනවා සෑහෙන කාලයක් ගිහින් තියෙනවා හිතාමත් මොකද විශාල විනාශයක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. දැන්වත් මේක ඉක්මනට ගෙන්න ගන්න.
අපි පොදු ව්‍යාපාර කාරක සභාව මට්ටමින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනය පිළිබඳව කටයුතු පරීක්ෂා.
We're carrying out a probe on the level of the COP into SLC. Further, according to my knowledge, the detailed audit report released by the Auditor General has been directed to the Speaker. Therefore, if you have the ability, present that report in Parliament. It is very important to the investigations being carried out by COP.
වාහාරික විගණන වාර්තාව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඒක
Prime Minister Ronald Vikram Singh arrived at the presidential commissions to investigate fraud and corruption in the current government. The Prime Minister arrived there to provide a statement with regard to the investigations pertaining to storing paddy at the Mattala airport.
The Prime Minister arrived at the Presidential Commission at 10:30 a.m. this morning. He pointed out the committee appointed to look into the purchasing of paddy of the 2015 Yala season proposed that the paddy be stored at the Mattala airport complex. The Prime Minister said such decisions were taken due to higher production of paddy and to maintain price stability for paddy. The committee appointed to look into the purchasing of paddy included advisor to the Prime Minister, Charita Ratwatta and Bhaskara Lingam, while the Commission questioned the Prime Minister about their appointments. The Prime Minister said he was not involved in their appointments to the committee. Chairman of the Presidential Committee, Justice Upali Aberatna, questioned the Prime Minister whether storing paddy in an international airport will not tarnish its reputation. To which the Prime Minister replied that the Mattala airport did not have an international reputation to be tarnished and it was named the world's emptiest airport. The Prime Minister added his government is currently in the process of developing the Mattala airport and is currently holding discussions with the government of India. The chairman of the commission questioned the Prime Minister whether such a decision as storing paddy in an airport will help to establish the reputation of the airport. The Prime Minister replied the commission was appointed to look into corruption and such matters can be discussed in Parliament. The chairman of the commission questioned whether storing paddy at the airport was a misuse of state assets, to which the Prime Minister said state assets were not misused. The Presidential Commission pointed out in 2014 more than 2,900 aircrafts landed at the Mattala airport. The Prime Minister said that this was due to state intervention. The Prime Minister, who testified at the Commission for more than 1 hour, left at around 11:45 a.m.
Sajid Premadasa ඡන්දෙ දෙන්න. හරි ඉතින් මං කියවන්නේ නේ නෑ.
39 bodies found in a truck container in southeast England. UK police launch a murder investigation.
Robert Destro, who is the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State of the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor of the House of Foreign Affairs, has provided a testimony regarding the countries in South Asia, including Sri Lanka.
In the testimony, the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State has made a statement regarding the appointment of the Army Commander in Sri Lanka. It would be constructive to note that while the Assistant Secretary of State waxes eloquent about allegations against the Army Commander, the US remains curiously silent about others who also face similar allegations. This suggests a certain bias which is far removed from sound and internationally accepted democratic principles. It is thus unbecoming of certain states to engage in such blatantly partial behavior.
The Church of Salon has sent out a media release criticizing the actions of a former bishop of the institution.
The release issued with the signature of the Bishop of Colombo, Right Reverend Diloraj Kanagasabe, and Bishop of Kurunegala, Right Reverend Kitsiri Fernando of the Church of Salon says it has come to our attention that on the 15th of October 2019 and 16th of October 2019, certain news items have been telecast by certain television stations and radio stations relating to Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis, the former Bishop of Kurunegala. It adds that it appears that in the news item of the 15th October 2019, Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis describes himself as a bishop of the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church in Sri Lanka is known as the Church of Salon and was formerly known as the Church of England in Salon. The Church of Salon wishes to bring to the notice of the public that Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis is not a serving diocesan bishop of the Church of Salon. The Church of Salon also notes that Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis voluntarily resigned from his office as the Bishop of Kurunegala as far back as January 2015. The Church of Salon wishes to state that Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis has no entailment or authority to make any statements on behalf of the Church of Salon or as a Bishop of the Church of Salon. The Church of Salon categorically states that the utterances made by Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis, which were telecast on the 15th of October 2019, were not authorized by the Church of Salon, and the Church of Salon disassociates itself from the utterances made by him. The Church of Salon wishes to emphasize that it is unaware of the truth of any of the utterances made by Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis. The release reads, it is significant to note that shortly before the presidential election in 2015 as well, the said bishop made certain unauthorized utterances which prompted the Metropolitan of the Church of Salon or the Archbishop of Canterbury to issue the statement referred to above. The Church of Salon notes with serious concern that in a similar manner, when a presidential election is pending, Bishop Greg Shanta Kumar Francis has ventured to make utterances of the same nature. The Church of Salon unreservedly condemns this act.
It's time now for a short commercial break. Stay with News First.
The Legal Officers Association of the Attorney General's Department proudly presents A Ray of Hope, musical extravaganza and fundraiser for the destitute children of the April attacks, on the 26th of October 2019. Tickets available at the Shangri-La Colombo, the Attorney General's Department and the Bar Association of Sri Lanka Head Office.
Hello, welcome back to the news. We now take a look at your international roundup for today.
In some shocking news reports that has emerged, a truck containing the remains of 39 deceased people has been found at a lorry container in Essex.
A truck containing the remains of 39 deceased bodies have been found in Essex, with leaving the authorities in the country bewildered.
Police were called in by the ambulance service shortly after 1:40 local time after the discovery at Waterglade Industrial Park in Eastern Avenue, Grays. The lorry driver, a 25-year-old man from Northern Ireland, has been arrested on suspicion of murder. Essex police said the lorry travelled from Bulgaria and entered the country via Holyhead. Early indications are that 38 adults and one teenager has died.
Shifting our attention towards Turkey now, the country has launched an offensive to drive out the Kurdish forces from their southern frontier to create a safe zone for the locals.
Turkey and Russia have agreed on what they call a historic deal aimed at keeping Kurdish forces away from Syria's border with Turkey. Russia is an ally of Syria's Bashar al-Assad and has raised concerns about foreign interference in Syria. Turkey and Russia have now conducted joint patrols along the border. The deal comes after the US announced a sudden and withdrawal, and analysts see it as cementing Turkish and Russian influence in the region.
As Newsfirst have been
it should be. Justice Secretary Robert Buckland said it was undeniably frustrating to have lost the vote on a timetable for legislations. Buckland said a no-deal Brexit was still a real possibility if the EU chooses not to extend the deadline.
Now, protests have been taking place all over Bolivia as the President Evo Morales is eyeing a fourth term as the president.
Chanting insults at Morales and saying "We are not afraid," protesters marched through downtown La Paz, moving past police barriers as firecrackers set off to summon more people to the demonstration rang out in the night. The march followed a night of rioting and clashes between voters and police on Monday, when vote counting stations and ballot boxes were set ablaze in some regions. In an attempt to calm the uproar, Morales' government retracted the president's comment on Sunday when Morales declared he had won the election and only needed rural votes to confirm another historic, unprecedented victory for his leftist government. With the binding vote count at 95%, Morales extended his lead to more than 9% points, still short of the 10 points he needs to avoid a runoff with his chief rival Carlos Mesa, who spoke at the protest late on Tuesday. An official quick count by the state's Supreme Electoral Tribunal on Monday showed Morales eking out a 10-point lead for an outright win. The preliminary tally at 84% had shown a likely runoff, but the TAC halted publication unexpectedly, sparking an outcry.
Taking a look at a news item that has been making its rounds in the past few weeks, the controversial Hong Kong bill, which started protests all over the country and left the country in jeopardy, has been withdrawn finally.
Hundreds of protesters took to the streets and the bill was eventually suspended. But protesters vowed to continue their demonstrations, which have spiraled into a wider pro-democracy movement. The proposed bill would have allowed for Hong Kong to extradite criminal suspects to places it doesn't have an extradition treaty with, including mainland China, Taiwan and Macau. Critics of the planned law feared the extradition to mainland China could subject people to arbitrary detention and unfair trials.
And up next is a sports roundup.
Once again, you're joining me, Tharush Kumar Singh, as I bring you your sports roundup for this evening. Now, day number 3 of the group stages of the UEFA Champions League 2019 was held yesterday. Now, throughout the course of today as well, we saw many games are being played. Many more will be played tomorrow as well. But first, let's take a look at some of the results of the matches played last night.
Real Madrid collected their first Champions League victory of the season at Galatasaray to ease the pressure on manager Zinedine Zidane. The La Liga side suffered a shock league defeat against Mallorca at the weekend and had failed to win their opening 2 group games, with reports in Spain suggesting Frenchman Zidane could be sacked if they lost in Istanbul. But Toni Kroos's deflected first-half strike following Eden Hazard's cutback was enough to seal the 3 points. Real's win moves them up to second in Group A, 5 points behind leaders Paris Saint-Germain, who eased past Club Brugge. Second half substitute Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick as Paris Saint-Germain defeated Club Brugge 5-0 to take a big step towards the Champions League knockout stage. The France forward became the youngest player to score 15 goals in the competition at 20 years and 306 days. Mbappe was brought on in the 52nd minute and scored 9 minutes later when he headed past goalkeeper Simon Mignolet. The French striker set up Mauro Icardi for his second before he made it 4-0 by converting Angel Di Maria's cross. He completed his hat-trick 7 minutes from time when he provided the finishing touch to a brilliant team move. Pep Guardiola hailed Raheem Sterling as an extraordinary talent after his 11-minute second-half hat-trick helped Manchester City demolish Atalanta and maintain their 100% start in Champions League Group C. Sterling is City's leading scorer with 12 goals in 13 games in all competitions this season, and this latest ruthless display demonstrated again what a potent finisher he has become.
News from the cricketing arena now. Indian opener Rohit Sharma has become the 3rd Indian batsman to make it to the top 10 list of all formats of the game after a scintillating series against the Proteas.
Sharma emulated captain Virat Kohli and retired Indian opener Gautam Gambhir as his knock of 212 in the 3rd test in Ranchi helped him advance 12 places to 10th position in the ICC Test player rankings. Sharma's player of the series effort of 529 runs helped him make huge strides from 44th place before the series. Sharma has held a career-high ranking of 2nd in ODIs and 7th in T20s. Kohli has been number 1 in all 3 formats, while Gambhir has been at the top in Tests and T20s and 8th in ODIs.
The logo for the 2024 Olympic Games was unveiled at a ceremony in the French capital, but it was received with both praise and mockery on social media.
Istangwe also highlighted that the logo for the first time in history would be used for both the Olympic and Paralympic Games, another initiative from the Paris 2024 Organizing Committee, which is trying to introduce new elements to their edition of the international event. The Paris 2024 bid team in February proposed surfing, skateboarding and sport climbing, as well as break dancing for inclusion, and the International Olympic Committee Executive Board has provisionally accepted them. Paris, which has hosted 2 previous Olympics, will stage the event 100 years after its last Games in 1924, while Los Angeles will also organize its 3rd Games after 1932 and 1984.
Well, as we had early on in the bulletin, popular actress Anushka Damayanti is one of the main speakers in Gotabaya Rajapaksa's presidential campaign.
We leave you tonight with views expressed by her at a rally in Kaduwala yesterday. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
හැමදාමත් මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමන්ට යෝධ බල යෝධ ශක්තියක් දුන්නු නූතන දුටු ගැමුණුන්ට මහා ශක්තියක් දුන්නු විමල් වීරවංශ
Vimal Veerwansha, the silver bell of Asia, who provided a massive strength to President Mahinda Rajapaksa and to the modern Dutugamunu. I feel like looking at the masses that gathered in Mulleriyawa to chase away the Portuguese, to chase away all the foreign forces, to provide strength to Gotabaya in 2020.
Gotabaya Shaktiya dena Tikiri Kumari Tikiri කුමාරලා බිහි කරපු ඒ වීරත්වය ඔබ තුලින් දැනෙනවා සිංහ දදය සෙවනේ සිංහ දදය දෙවනේ සෙවනේ සිංහ දදයට පණ දෙන්නට රටට පණ දෙන්නට ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුන් නියත ජනාධිපති වශයෙන් නැවතත් මේ පොළොව මත රන් අකුරින් ලියන
I feel that strength from all of you that created the Prince Tikiri. Rally around under the Sri Lankan flag to provide strength to the motherland and to etch in gold the name of Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the president of this country. The leader who provided you with life after ending the 30-year war and allowed your children to breathe, Mahinda Rajapaksa, will be appointed as the Prime Minister. How lucky are you? Let all of you be victorious.
සියලුම දෙනාට ජයන් ජේවා ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට සුබ අනාගතයක් ස්තුතියි